Welcome, thank you for attending and participating in the 4th annual Candidates Night hosted by the Nottingham Women's Club. This is a wonderful opportunity to meet and get to know a little bit about the people who seek to represent us in our town government. We are videotaping this evening and we'll be showing it on the town cable channel periodically up until voting day. We also are attempting a Facebook Live, which will definitely be on the Nottingham Women's Club Facebook page and maybe on all Nottingham. It is sharing currently? Not yet. Not yet. So we will also share that later. So if you want to text any friends who could be here or message them, let them know they can watch us live. Please help yourself, as Lorraine said, to the light refreshments provided by the Nottingham Women's Club. Donations are happily accepted. The Nottingham Women's Club is a non-profit, nonpartisan social club with a conscience. Last year, in an effort to increase opportunities for our members, while still allowing us to operate just as we always have here in Nottingham, we joined the Greater Federation of Women's Club. The new Nottingham Greater Federation Women's Club will continue to bring together multi-generations of Nottingham women for socializing, fun experiences, and fundraising to support our various community service projects, which includes our college scholarships. We are always looking for new members to join in the fun, so please seek one of us out to learn how you can become a member or visit our Facebook page. We have all of our officers sitting there in the second row. And of course, do not forget to participate in our annual Scarecrow contest this fall, which is not only a fun community event, but our largest fundraiser. I will present each one of the candidates in order as they appear on the ballot. If you are in attendance when your name is announced, you will have 2 to 3 minutes to read your candidate statement, telling us about yourself and your candidacy. I believe we have, actually I've received about 4 now, candidates who are unable to attend but did submit their candidate statement, which I will read on their behalf. After all the candidates have had an opportunity to introduce themselves, I will begin the audience question and answer session. Following that, if time allows, I will read the questions submitted in advance by residents who could not attend but still want to participate in the process. Tonight, we also have one of the drafters of a petition warrant article, which will appear on the ballot to explain the warrant article. I would like to remind both candidates and the audience that this is a friendly event designed solely to allow the community a chance to get to know the positions of the candidates. This evening is not a place for heated debate. No personal attacks will be tolerated. As the moderator, I will let you know if and when I feel a comment or conversation has crossed the line, and it is my expectation that you will be respectful and end the dialogue immediately. I'm simply asking that we each take a moment before we speak to remember and respect that Nottingham is a small town and that everyone here tonight is a neighbor, so let's be neighborly. So first up, we have our Board of Assessors, which the ballot appears to be blank. Anyone want to write themselves in this evening? No takers. Alrighty. We have Budget Committee for 2 years. Timothy Dabrio, who could not be here but has submitted a statement, which I will read. This is always awkward. It's written in first person. So I will try to adjust as I go. Tim Dabrio is running for the 2-year Budget Committee position for the town of Nottingham. His wife and he have moved to Nottingham in 2003 and are raising their 3 boys here. We all truly love the warm, welcoming atmosphere of this town. Over the past decade, he has served as the president of the Seacoast Human Resources Association, director for the Human Resources State Council of New Hampshire, and on the board of directors of the Chamber Collaborative of Greater Portsmouth. Through his volunteer roles, he has learned how to oversee the financials of an organization and work with the board and paid administrative staff to develop creative strategies and solutions to work within a budget and increase revenue streams in order to have a positive impact on the local business community. Tim has enjoyed serving in these roles, but feels it is also important to give back to the community that he calls home. Last summer, he was honored to be asked to join the Budget Committee to serve in a 1-year position that opened up due to sudden vacancies. Although the learning curve was steep, he put the time and effort in to learn more about the town and school budget process. He attended a full day NHMA, New Hampshire Municipal Association, budget and finance workshop with other budget committee and school board members from Nottingham to learn more about the budget process and his role and responsibilities as a committee member. If re-elected, he will be able to take his experiences from this past year to hit the ground running with this 2-year role. He feels it is important to work as a community to keep taxes under control while keeping the town vibrant and providing our younger generation with the resources they need to be successful in the future. It is a tough balance, but he will work hard to help provide the oversight through the budget process and would appreciate your vote for the 2-year budget committee position on March 12th. Next is Michelle King, who also is not here and has submitted a statement. Hello from Michelle King. She is running for the 2-year budget committee position. This is her first time running for anything political, but when she saw a post on Facebook asking for people to volunteer their time and get involved, she naturally wanted to step in. She moved here in 2017 and fell in love with this small town we call Nottingham. She was born and raised in the suburbs of Houston, Texas, but life has rooted her here. She served in the United States Army Military Police Corps for 5 years with a year-long combat deployment to Afghanistan. When she got out, she got her bachelor's degree in business management and now works for a family-owned business out of Dover, New Hampshire. She does not have any expectations in town politics, experience in town politics. This is very small font. But she knows she wants to be involved in a community she can call home for years to come. She wants to learn how things work here and try to improve them where need be. She is dedicated, loyal, and truly has our community's best interests at heart. She is thankful for the opportunity to run for the Budget Committee and would appreciate your support. Thank you. And she thanks you, Lorraine, for reading this, but I'll take that as a thank you. Next, we have Thomas LeVay, 2-year Budget Committee. Tom is here.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Tom LeVay, and I'm running for the 2-year Budget Committee position. I've been a resident of Nottingham for the last 3 years and lived in Glasgow and Atkinson for the last 33 years. I'm a retired middle school math teacher of 32 years. I'm a veteran in the Air Force. I have my BS in accounting from Bethel University and a master's in education from Plymouth State University. I worked in the finance field for 6 years prior to my teaching career. I have 3 adult children. I moved to Nottingham because I was seeking a small rural town where it was quiet, quaint, surrounded by woods and nature. I spent a lot of my free time enjoying the outdoors here in town as well as Tuckaway Lake where I enjoyed hiking. I spent most of my life in New Hampshire and understand the values that are important to those that live here. I'm the type of person that believes if you want to make a difference, then get involved in something like the budget. Teaching gave that to me, gave me that satisfaction for so many years where I had the opportunity to work closely with students and their families. I asked for input from those at the town hall to find out what committee would be best to join and learn more about Nottingham and how it works. Its issues, its values moving forward. I worked on teaching teams in schools and working on many district-wide committees and coached a variety of sports. I have no personal agenda, and I'm only interested in working cooperatively with other members of the budget committee to bring forward a budget that meets the needs of the community and is fiscally responsible. Nottingham is a beautiful community, and being somewhat new to town, I want to get involved, meet, and learn from others in town, and give back to this community as I've always done in my life. I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So again, Budget Committee, vote for not more than 2 for 2 years. We have Tim Gabriel, Michelle King, and Thomas LeVay. Budget Committee for 3 years, vote for not more than 3. Bo Robinson. You are here with us now. No statement either. Perfect. And we have write-in candidate John Decker, and he is here with us this evening.
Hi, I'm John Decker. I'm running as a write-in candidate for the Budget Committee. I've been in Nottingham since about '95. Actually, I My parents moved here in, sorry, 84. Then I lived here with them for a little bit. I went to college at Kent State, where I was a computer manager. It's been about 10 years since I've been on budget committee, and I was on budget committee for 10 years in the past. So I do have experience, but it's been a while. And I would appreciate your vote next week. Thanks again, budget committee, 3 years, right?
Thank you, John. Cemetery trustee for 3 years, vote for not more than one, Teresa Bascom. With us this evening. Right? Not in my pile. Library trustee for 3 years, vote for not more than 2, Susan Medeiros. Susan with us this evening. Let's see everybody. And I know Jennifer Phillips is down there. Can we pass her a microphone?
Good evening. Is this working? There we go. Okay. I am Jen Phillips. I moved to the town of Nottingham back in 2015, so I've been here for just about 4 years. Interesting that I still feel new to town here, and I've actually lived here longer than a lot of the places I did when I was growing up. I moved to New Hampshire in 2006 from the Chicago area. First lived in Goffstown and was a library trustee there. Loved it, and when my husband and I moved here, I went into the library and said, I don't want to displace anyone, but if you need somebody, let me know. And they said, we have an alternate position, would you like to do that? I said, I sure would. So I served as an alternate for about a year before one of the acting trustees had to resign. She didn't have time to invest in it. And they appointed me to that position. I've been in acting trustee since, I think, early 2017. I have to go and figure out exactly when. I love libraries. As I mentioned before, I moved a lot growing up, and there are 2 things that you can always rely on when you move every 3 years, and one is your sibling is your first friend, and your books can come with you. So libraries were always there for me, and I like to be there for them, and I'm really here to introduce myself to the community.
Perfect. Thank you, Jennifer. We have planning board for 3 years, vote for not more than 2, Edward.
So Edward Beal, running for the one of the 2 3-year positions on the for the planning board. And first, I'd like to thank the Nottingham Women's Club for hosting this forum and putting this on for us. Again, it's a great asset to the town, and thank all of you for being here on your nights. And thank everybody here that's also volunteering to run for different boards. I've been on the planning board since 2012. I was appointed for an empty position that was there, and was elected in 2013 and re-elected in 2016. I feel that every year, every application I'm a part of, I learn more, and it allows me to better serve the town. I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for your support. I really enjoy doing that again for the next 3 years. So really, please vote for me for one of the playing positions for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. We also have Dirk Rotenheis as a write-in, who's not here with us this evening, but has submitted a statement. Dirk, he wrote it first. Dirk Rotenheis is running for planning board member as a write-in on the ballot. He has over 25 years of diverse civil engineering experience. As a licensed professional engineer, he is an expert in the fields of land development and transportation planning, design, and management. Dirk has served on the planning board for the past 9 years and is currently the chairman. Implementing elements of the town's master plan, providing technical review of development applications, and updating regulations are some of the things he has done as a planning board member. As chairman, Dirk has kept the meetings on course and ensured public hearings were conducted in a fair manner and with decorum. He also volunteers his time to the New Hampshire Society of Professional Engineers, Stratford Regional Planning Commission, and the NHDOT Bicycle and Pedestrian Technical Advisory Committee. Every Earth Day, Dirk, his wife, and 2 sons provide roadside cleanup in Nottingham, taking pride in the rural community they have called home for 18 years. And next we have Board of Selectmen for 3 years, vote for not more than 1, John A. Moran. John is here.
Hi, everybody. First, I want to thank Lewis for putting this on. It is a great event to get to see everybody and for us to actually talk about some of the issues that are happening in this town and for why we're running. I moved here in 2004 with my wife Lisa, and since 2004 I had the pleasure of serving on the CIP committee. I served on the zoning board, I served on the planning board, I served on the board of assessors. I was also just on the budget committee. So I have a lot of experience in the town in volunteering for these committees and boards, you know, to get a good understanding of what's been happening and where we need to go and how we keep the town going in a positive direction for the future. Because there's a lot at stake that's going to be coming up that needs to be talked about and needs a good, fair understanding of why we're going to go that way or not on certain issues. You know, I have a deep appreciation for this town. My family's been in this town since the 30s. You know, it's one of the loves of why we moved here back in 2004. You know, and the time that I've spent over these past couple years, you know, volunteering and doing this is because of the fact that I do care about what happens to Nottingham, what the future is for this town, and I hope for your support so I can continue serving.
Thank you, John. Next we have James Robinson.
Hi, my name is James Robinson. You can call me Jim. I've lived in this town for 35 years, and I'm a business owner. I own Renaissance Strings violin shop, and I'm running for selectman because I believe that we need some change, and I think that I have some good ideas. I'm hoping to help the town. Anyways, it's me, James, for selectman.
Thanks, Jim. We also have Shannon Taylor as a write-in, who isn't here this evening but has submitted a statement. Good evening, Nottingham. First, she would like to apologize for not being here tonight. Unfortunately, her work schedule would not allow it. Shannon Taylor is asking for your vote as a write-in candidate for selectman. She has served Nottingham as school district clerk, as well as ballot clerk, and most recently as an assistant supervisor of the checklist. She hopes that you are as excited about the upcoming election as she is, and she hopes to be your choice for a selectman position. Voting allows us the opportunity to strengthen our community and come together. Furthermore, it empowers us as we choose the person or people we feel will make the right decisions for our community. Your vote makes a difference. The role of a selectman or select person is to serve their community as the executive body. Those elected to serve Nottingham in this position have a responsibility to all residents of Nottingham to operate and make decisions beneficial to all. You cannot elect someone whose main focus is on one particular aspect of this town. Nottingham is lucky enough to have all walks of life living in this community. And as your next select person, it will be her goal to make commonplace decisions that will benefit everyone. We all moved to this town for a reason. Maybe it was to move closer to family or wanted more land. Maybe you moved here for the school system or to slow down in a smaller old New England town. Maybe you moved here to be a farmer or you work in the city and want to live in the country. Whatever your reasons for living here, we are all here together. It is up to us to maintain the integrity of Nottingham that was built almost 300 years ago by Nottingham's founders while utilizing modern progressive thinking. She will work for Nottingham, not her opinions, by forming and maintaining open communication with anyone who has concerns. She will work for Nottingham, not for her opinions, by forming and maintaining open communication with anyone who has concerns or ideas to better our already amazing town. She would like to end by saying she hopes to have your vote for write-in candidate for selectman, and leaves you with this one of her favorite quotes from Lance Armstrong. Knowledge is power, community is strength, and positive attitude is everything. Together we have it all. On March 12th, please consider write-in candidate Shannon Taylor for selectman. We have trustee of the trust funds for 3 years, vote for not more than 1, Denise Blaha. Zoning Board, Raylene Shippey Rice, 3 years, both for not more than one.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Oh, good. Fine. I'm delighted to be here. I'm one of the candidates for the zoning board, one of the 3 positions there. And I've lived in Nottingham since 1976. My husband and I moved here into a 1835 house on Garland Road. Our house was part of the cottage industry. It's right on the North River, and there was a shoe factory on the North River back in the 1800s. And our house, we found some glass and some pools when we did some remodeling. So we're very attached to our home and very attached to Nottingham. I grew up in Vermont in a very small community in southern Vermont. And after leaving it, living in Chicago, Montana, Minnesota, Missouri, and New York, it was a real joy to be able to come back to New England, especially to a small town that had many characteristics of the one I grew up in. I've been interested in serving on the zoning board because I served on the Nottingham Conservation Commission for about 6 years, both as an alternate member and as a regular member. And as I listened to what was going on the planning board that was related to things that we talked about on the Conservation Commission, and as I listened to what the zoning board was doing in relation to the same issues, I was interested in how the conservation linked with those other 2 boards. So this year, when there was a vacancy on the zoning board, I wanted to serve on the zoning board as well as the Conservation Commission and merge my interests in preserving many of the things that we value in Nottingham. Our sense of community, the rural nature of our community, and the values of keeping our natural habitat, but also recognizing that times change and how can we hold our natural habitat and the things we hold dear while we move forward. So I'm looking forward to hopefully your support and to continue to serve on the Conservation Commission and to become a new member of the zoning.
Thank you, Raylene. Now we're going to move to the school ballot. Here we only have one person running. We have Sue Levinson running for a 3-year school board position.
Hello, I'm Susan Levinson. I've been on the school board since March of 2011. I very much enjoy being on the school board. It is a lot of work, but it's something that I definitely put my heart and soul into, to be honest. I really want to see our kids succeed, and we have them for 9 years, kindergarten through 8th grade, probably the longest period of time we'll be in any school, so what we do really matters for our students. I've served on several committees. I've been the joint board chair currently, and joint board chair for the 3 towns that I have seen in 44. I've been the local Nottingham board chair for 3 or 4 times. I've been in negotiations, technology, audit committee, so several committees. Prior to being on the budget, the school board, I was on the budget committee, so I do appreciate the numbers, and that is something that I am interested in. I've also attended the budget training many times over, along with the Care Law Conference and the behavioral conferences. Some of the things I'm really, really pleased about with the school that we have worked on over the past several years. We finally have full-day kindergarten, which we think to be, I believe, and the board believes to be a really wonderful addition to our school system. It's something that's going to help our kids as they move forward and progress. We've updated our building security, we increased our internet speed. 7 years back, about 5 years ago, we changed our math program to a mastery-based program called Math Focus, and we've seen great strides in our math with that program. We are still working on technology integration. Our grades 6, 7, and 8 are going to learn with their programs at this time. We've recently updated our library. We have a little bit more to do, but the library is now So going forward, there's a lot left to do and work on as things change. You're always going to have different challenges. We do have impact fees that can be used. I think we should look into those and see how we can best use them. That is something that will go to school, and it makes it so that we don't have a tax increase. So the funds that are sitting there, we can use them in the manner in which they are intended. That would be a great help. Building study, we really have the town looking at our building again. We have made a commitment to have a focus on academics. Our students are doing much better. They are surpassing state averages in all of our testing. However, we've looked at every area of the school. We expanded into closets, added windows to closets. We've done every possible thing we can to find room in the school. And so we need to really look again at our programming, at our enrollment numbers, and at what we want to provide for our students, and see if the school building is what we need or what we can do with it. We also have a website. I'd really like to see our website updated and improved for people when they go on, and sometimes if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to be able to find it. I love our teacher pages. I think that's fantastic. But the general front of the website, if you will, could use updating. Strategic planning is another area that we will be addressing, and I think that that's something that both communities should involve themselves with. Competency grading is going to be coming to the forefront, and it's something that people should be involved with and understand as well. And I guess my final plea to everyone would be we go to our meetings twice a month, first and third Wednesdays, and we very rarely see anyone unless there's a hot topic. And I really think it would be so wonderful if everyone in the community came to some school board meetings, even if you have to share it with friends, because I know everyone's busy, but not just parents, but community members as well, because the school doing well impacts everyone. A school that's highly functioning helps with the property values, it helps with everything. So really, if we could get more people to come, say what they're really interested in, and that would be really a great, wonderful thing, I think, for us. Thank you.
We have John Sebasto with us this evening. John is one of the drafters of the petition warrant article number 19 on Boston property. He's here to explain what that is.
Hi, I'm John Sabasco. I'm the NWA baseball director here in Nottingham, and also the Lamprey River Little League baseball president. I want to first thank the Nottingham Women's Club for putting this very important event on tonight. It's incredibly important that obviously all of our voices, our thoughts are heard. And also the gentleman at the door that's been handing out flyers this evening. On your way out, make sure you give him a hug. He's one of our best volunteers in the town. So I'm here to just talk quickly about Article 19, warrant Article 19 at the Marston. 2 years ago, we put a vote forth in a town meeting that granted us $100,000 of taxpayers' money and another $100,000 of funds from the Nottingham Rec Department's revolving fund. Over the last 3 years, it's been quiet. A lot of people haven't heard a lot, but there has in fact been a lot of things going on. We've gone out and looked for, we've done some fundraising efforts to obtain grant money, unsuccessfully, unfortunately. We've also had the surveying and environmental testing done over the course of these last 3 years. That put us in a position to obtain permits to then move forward. Unfortunately, we're at a point where we don't have enough funds based on the plans where we stand today to move forward with starting and finishing part of the project. Your vote of yes would grant us an additional $100,000 to move forward with starting a gravel parking lot, a softball field, which we are in dire need of in town, a Little League baseball field and a multi-purpose field that can be used for lacrosse and soccer. Parts of this first phase, these funds will also go towards the beginning stages of a hiking trail and setting up the land for a community park. There's a lot of different details and facts and everything that I have on my sheet that have gone on over the last 3 years. I'm going to be here all night, so please don't hesitate to pull me aside, even if it's not here later on as we approach the vote. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability that I can. Matt Kachukas, who is leading up this committee, couldn't be here, unfortunately. He's traveling for work. He's a pilot for the Southwest, and I think he's in Denver somewhere, but he wanted to be here. And he's also he's been the leader of this committee, and he would be a resource if you're dealing with that. So thank you for this time, and I'll get to the next person.
Thank you, John. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the question and answer session to the audience. When asking your questions, please come up to the microphone, state your name and street address for the record. Candidates, you can pose a question to a particular candidate or say all the Board of Selectmen and try to start alphabetical order and then take turns going first and last. So candidates will each be given 2 minutes to respond to a question, and then any other opposing candidates will also be given the opportunity to weigh in. No rebuttals will be allowed unless a follow-up question is specifically posed to a candidate. Audience members may only ask one question at a time. Candidates may also feel free to ask questions of any other candidates not running against them or sitting up here at the table. So turn it over to you folks. It's always the worst, that first question. Come on. No questions? Come on up, Ms. Finn.
Oh, I have a lot.
Come on to my TV.
Good thing I have a TV. Question is directed to the two candidates for the select board. Can you hear? Can you hear? Oh, okay. Question is, the select board is made up of 5 members, elected by the town, as well as often there are people from other committees here, the budget committee rep, school committee rep, whomever. So for both of you, and I don't care who goes first, I'd like to know how you feel you are at working with groups like that to come out with a good solution on tricky problems. And this town has a lot of tricky issues, as does everybody. So how you would work with each other and the public and members of other committees who are important to you. Thank you. Okay, you want to-
Before I opened my shop, Renaissance Strings, I was a project manager and a construction manager for 2 of the largest construction companies in the area. And I dealt with the architects, I dealt with the projects, I dealt with all the subcontractors and the works. So I feel as though I have the ability to work out issues and solutions, not necessarily the ones that people hope for, but the ones that work the best for everybody. That's it.
Thanks for the question. I've had the pleasure of being on the budget committee this year, and in the past, I've been on the planning board for 6 years. So I understand, how those boards work, and as I get elected to be selectman, I know I can step into those positions and be effective because I've already passed the learning curve of what those boards do, what they're trying to do, especially with the planning board coming up and having to do with the master plan. I was there when they were finishing up the master plan the first time. There's a lot of work that goes involved with that. So, I'd be very happy to be, helping out. And I have a good relationship with most of the board members that are on there. So I feel like we could always work together and, make a better place.
Thank you. Please just state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Rosalind Chapa, and I'm 25 feet away. So this is a question for the two gentlemen running for the Board of Selectmen. And I'm wondering, what two areas in the budget would you change, would you make better? What did you see in the 2017-18 budget that you would have liked to change, do better? Where would you improve? Thank you.
John, you want to go first on this one?
Well, being my first year on the budget committee this year, there was a need for members, so I actually didn't run for the position. I just volunteered and was accepted by the board to sit on that, again, because they needed the members. And I thought it was a good, chance for me to learn about the budget committee. So I only have the 1 year experience on that board, but I found this year that, after going through the process of seeing how it works, we do as a town in our past selectmen have done a really good job of actually keeping a very tight budget, so that the fact that we haven't seen big significant, increases in the town operating budget, which obviously affects your taxes. So I do give credit for the board for what they've done when they put that, budget together before they go on it. Are there little things on every split? I would say, yeah, there's a couple little things you might want to see, questioning whether the town's why they're spending or what they're doing, but it's a group as a board of selectmen that are coming together to put that budget. So it's 5 minds working together. So I didn't see a lot this year, maybe because of my inexperience, but I did learn a lot. Much needed to changes, you would say. I mean, every year there's going to be different things that come up, and they're going to require different views and different opinions on how it's going to go. And that's part of, sitting on the board, selecting, you have to, bear with what happens and, make the proper decisions so that they, affect the town in a positive way for everybody. So I wouldn't say that this year there was a lot to change on there. And again, I do say that they did a nice job putting it together, because it was a very reasonable budget that they put forward.
Jim?
I think what I'd like to try is something a little bit different than we've been doing all along. And my opinion is based on the construction business and the way everything would work to subcontractors. And see if we can get it more aligned as a business as opposed to just a town. It's hard to explain it here in a short amount of time, but it's a lot of things that it's a contract, going into a job. As a project manager, you know exactly what you're going to make at the end of the year, you know exactly what the costs are going to be. All these things are all known entities. At the end of the year, you can actually budget better that way because you know where you're going to be. You're not going to be wondering at the end of the year what you're going to need for this, what you're going to need for that. Not having all the numbers, it's easier to keep track. That's what I'm shooting for.
Question? Name and address for the record.
John Chernico, Case Road. Selectmen, the people living around Peppery Lake have concerns about the roads, and that's kind of up in the air, in terms of security and safety, and who owns what. Any thoughts?
As far as the private roads, is that what you're talking about? I believe there's a solution somewhere in there. I don't think that it's going to be, everybody's going to be happy with it, but I think that there's always ways of working around it. There's things that have been going on for years that really shouldn't have been, and it was brought to the attention. Now it's time to get it organized and see where it goes.
Well, I look at the emergency lanes, and I mean, they're not just around Tuckaway Lake, they're around North River Lake. There's other ones in town, that are affected by these emergency lanes. These are people's homes. that they live on. These are other, people that have property. They might not live here full-time, but they're tax paying to the town of Nottingham. The basic service of plowing a road, maybe grading it twice a year, an occasional culvert that might have to be put in. I understand these effects, but if we stop taking care of these roads, even though we've been taking care of them for 40 years, we're talking about affecting, 400 to 500 places, maybe close to 1,000 residents. And I don't see where, somebody that says, well, we shouldn't be doing it or not. Well, what about the community aspect of that we're here? Aren't we here to take care of each other? Don't we all pay into the big tax pool so that everybody is represented and everybody's taken care of? To probably hurt 1,000 people, 400 to 500 homes, their tax value could be dropping significantly. That hurts their resale value. There's a big impact that this could play on. And the cost factor for the roads, no one's fixed. He said what the certain amount is, to my knowledge, how much it costs. But these people, it's about the people, and that's where I stand, is that, I don't, to hurt or affect 1,000 people is just something I don't think is right. I don't think it's the community aspect. I don't think it's where we should stand as a community.
John, question? Can we do a follow-up on that one?
Sure.
When Brenda, 150 Raven Road. It's my understanding, and I want to make sure I'm correct about this, so I'm sure the director is the select board people, but there may be other people up here or in the audience who know the answer. It's my understanding that private road situation came to a head in 2011, and the select board voted to adopt the state rule about it, which said we're not going to plow or take care of private roads unless it's an emergency lane. And then they created a policy around that, and people applied to become applications were made to be emergency lanes. Some were taking, quite a few, I agree, I don't know if it's 1,000 people, but quite a few roads were accepted as emergency lanes. Others were not. Others have since requested to be an emergency lane in order to get those services and have not been accepted. Some emergency lanes don't even have anybody living on them because it's access to something else, which is why we take care of our plowing. So I just wanted to check to see if I'm correct about this history. I didn't know if you that's what we're out. That's what I was doing. No, I just want to know if that's the case.
I would say let's save that for now.
Okay.
Just
All right.
not a candidate,
Okay.
but unless any of the candidates want to weigh in. Any other questions?
This is to anyone who would like to answer. How will you come prepared to meetings to make a meaningful contribution?
I just go down the line. We'll start right up here. Question is, how will you come prepared to meetings to make a meaningful contribution?
Well, any committee I've ever been part of has always been subjective. So I think you have to come prepared to talk about where we can do it, do your homework. I'm sure in between meeting times, there's always something that you're working on, research or learning about. So I guess my best answer is I'm prepared to really work and give 110%.
With my past experiences on budget committee, I basically looked at the topics that were being discussed that week ahead of time. Reviewed all those numbers and came prepared to ask the right question.
law lecture series, reviewing items well in advance, reviewing plans, things like that, looking at maps, looking at views, the tool that outlines the law. Try to see not just the property we're looking at, but the watershed, the aquifer, what other properties are there. Again, it's constant learning. We rely on the public, people at your town, and then I rely a lot on my co-board members. 6 of us that are elected on the planning board. One was selecting the ex officio representative that's appointed. We've had one very dedicated alternate volunteer. So again, some others step up. We're also always looking for additional volunteers for the board as alternates. Public participation can be pretty low. Again, we're here for you, so we welcome you at any of the meetings. If you have questions or thoughts about how planning board works, we're here for you. So, quick answer is review, and one other thing I should mention. One of the items on the budget for this year is that we're asking for funds for a planner. In the past, we were lucky enough to have a code enforcement officer that did a lot of the pre-review steps, did a lot of planning, the job of a planner. Made the board much more efficient. Our policies, our ordinances, our rewrites, and review applications much more oriented. He retired. We no longer have that service, so we're asking for some budget money for some assistance with that, to try to make sure that what we're doing is thank you.
Well, I always feel coming prepared to the meeting, you know, going over your past minutes. It seems like most meetings that you're attending, you know, it's a continuation of a past meeting. So understanding the minutes that were, you know, at the last meeting so that you're well aware of what's going to be spoken about or continued on was important. Also, having good attendance. If you're not at the meetings, you know, that you're, you know, if you're on the board, you should be able to, in my opinion, you should be at 90% of the meetings. When you start missing meetings, you're not helping anybody. So I think attendance is very important on any board, so that you're there representing, but you also have the knowledge. You know, and then obviously doing the research from the minutes that you're going to see ahead, you know, but asking the questions. Because a lot of times when you're at the meeting, you know, preparing for it, you should have assigned questions, you know, according to the agenda, so that when you're there, you're ready to go.
With the school board, we have pretty lengthy packets with every single meeting. We really have to study up on those. We actually all do a lot of research. I spend a lot of time looking at what other districts are doing. There are some districts out there that maybe have higher valuations and so forth, and so they can do a little bit more. But there's a lot of things that we can implement that aren't too cost constraining for you. So I really like to look at what other districts are doing on a regular basis. We study the packets, we do research, we look at EDI, we look at best practice, and I think we all do it. So we come to the meetings prepared and ready to discuss the questions that we have.
I think the best way to attend a meeting is with an open mind, come to the table and with a little bit of information, do some research, and I love to do research. But it's very important to research before you open up and try some new things. I think that's the important part of the open mindedness is the best part.
What a great question. I think preparing for meetings is to think about what are the goals of the commission or the committee on which you're working. What are the objectives? What is it that it's trying to achieve? How does the agenda, how the items on the agenda fit in with both the short and long-term goals? And what it is that you want to achieve. Looking at the agenda, looking at the background and history of the particular item that's under discussion and review, and also ensuring that there's open discussion, debate, and asking lots of questions.
You want me to? Yes. Yeah, I'll go. I managed 11 people in my current role in my work life. And, you know, I always tell them a couple things. do research, be prepared, and have an open mind and be comfortable. So one of the things I always do before a meeting, obviously I read the agenda, I look at the meeting minutes, or whatever casework I may be working on. Usually talk to my wife. That's the most important thing for your significant other nowadays. It's incredibly important because that's the angel on your shoulder, your significant other. So.
I don't know what you're running for, but you have my vote.
This is a pretty straightforward answer for anyone on the Library Board of Trustees because our director is excellent about providing us with a very thorough and detailed director's report. So that is item number 1 review that brings up any kind of questions that we might have about circulation or statistics or that sort of thing. It also gives us an indication if there's a policy that needs to be reviewed. Review the agenda for the upcoming meeting and review the previous meeting's minutes. So, and I've spent a lot of time at the library listening to any of the staff that want to come and it helps too. So quote something about 2 years in one mouth and make sure you use that ratio when you're in the meeting. Less than twice as much as you are. That helps too. Great question.
Sure.
I just want to add one thing. It's what you do between the meetings, going to make the next meeting better. So if you do nothing between the meetings, it's not going to be very effective. The other thing I would say is, anybody has an eye for us, should be a little recourse, honorable, respectful, and all that.
Question for answers. Anything else?
Charlene Anderson, Nottingham Road. This is a question for John and for Jim. So at town meeting on Saturday, there's a very important warrant article that's going before the people, which is asking for the people to allow the select board to enter into a contract with a solar power company to evaluate and possibly lease land on Route 4. That was a former water mining site that got stopped. And my question is if that passes, which I hope it will you folks support moving forward with that letter of intent and possible contract?
Jim, start with you on this one.
Is that the only things we looked at so far?
No, this piece of property, prior to the town tax deeding it, was on the market well for many years. The problem is that even the realtors, it was done through Kane, I think it was the realtor, and it was listed for many, many years, and no one was interested in it. One of the challenges that this town has to get commercial industry on Route 4 is that there is no municipal water or municipal sewage, and that's what most developers are looking for. And so even with the realtor listing it, they've been unable to sell that property.
I have my opinion about solar power. I'm not a huge proponent of it because I don't believe that the storage capacity is where it's supposed to be. I don't think that the technology is caught up. That's my opinion on solar.
So would you, that's your opinion on solar, but would you enter into the contract
I
or
would enter
not?
a contract with something I don't believe in.
Well, I believe renewable resources such as solar power, so I would definitely be in favor of it. I think it's a great use for that property. In the past, when other businesses, I mean, I'd love to see Route 4 get developed more for our tax impact base. This will, help with that down the road. But also, I'm sure the residents that live over on Revolutionary Lane over there would like to know that, no big industry, no big businesses over there because it keeps them in a quiet, more rural area. But I think the solar power idea is great. I'm happy that you, the board actually, looked into it or got to the stage that you're in now, but I'd be 100% for supporting it.
Could I add just one more comment? Sure. Okay. Just, Jim, just for you to consider, you may not agree with solar, but just for you to consider, and I'm just, asking you to remember this, is that any large groundwater withdrawal, and that could be multiple houses that are on that piece of property, as soon as water at any volume starts to be drawn from that site, there is a zone of influence of hazardous waste sites that have been identified by the Department of Environmental Services, which is known is going to affect the people around that area within that zone of influence, affect either their water quality or their water quantity by drawing in the toxins that lie underneath from multiple sites. And happy to show you that, or it's actually in records and files at the town office that shows that. So just consider that as well. So thanks.
That's why also, that's when warrant article 28 or 26 comes up about the water and the dumping of these chemicals, which people have done in the way past. It's a very important article that we should know. Yes.
Okay. No questions? I am Charlotte Fife. I live at 85 Deerfield Road. I don't need to leave the rest of you out, but I have a question again for the candidates for selectmen. Jim, actually, I can start with you. It's a question to both of you, but it's relating to your candidate statement that appeared in the newsletter. And you said that you're going to work hard to eliminate financial waste and lower our taxes. And I wonder if you could tell us what some of those ways would be, what areas you see need to be eliminated. And then I ask you that question too, John.
Like I said before, I base my opinion on my construction background and how we did everything done as subcontractors as opposed to having employees. So I would I would sub out a lot of the maintenance, road maintenance, and all the things that the town spends a lot of money that they don't keep track of. These are things that I think that are wasteful. You can just dump money in something and never know how much you're spending. At least as a contract, you know what you're going to spend and how much it's going to be.
Well, I don't agree with that, but that's, sorry, I'm just trying to get my train of thought here on this. The town is run as an organization, or, committee as a community service, is what we're doing here. I find that, sitting on the budget committee and this last year and seeing how the CIP committee works and what we're doing is, our funds are provided to, help support the town, and do it properly. I haven't seen over the past couple of years that we've done a lot of wasteful spending. Some people might have an opinion on what they consider wasteful, but what has been the greater good for the town is what really came to effect. And everybody that sits on the Board of Assessors, from the members that are there now and the ones that were there before, we're all taxpayers, just like all of you. So I don't think that we've actually been, spending, irresponsibly. I think if you look around at our tax rate, we'd be very proud of where we stand at Nottingham. We're lower than most anybody around it, for what we've done. And that's because of the due diligence of the people that sat before us as selectmen and on these other boards. So I think just the commitment that those people made, I want to say thank you for your service and what you've done. And I hope that we continue moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Questions? Everyone waits till I'm about to let you.
Tony Dubas, Devonshire Drive. bit. So as you know, at times it can be hard to get people to step up, to volunteer, to run the various positions and boards in town. In fact, we have a warrant article this year that's going to ask the town to dissolve the Board of Assessors because nobody wants to run for it. So hats off to all of you for stepping up, put yourselves out there to serve. My question for you, for any of you, is think ahead to that time when your term is up, or when you felt you have served enough and you're ready to move on. Can you think of anybody in town who you feel would do a good job in the position that you're running for, and what could you say or do to urge them to step up and succeed you?
Anyone want to take a stab at it?
I've been in town 3 years.
Can you get the microphone? Yes, sorry, here.
I've only been in town 3 years, and I probably know a handful of people, so I would say that after being on the committee or whatever, I think you would want to try to relate the experiences that we had on that committee. I'll probably take all the positives out of it, not necessarily the negative. Try to talk to somebody else about how important it is to involve. If this isn't enough people that come forward and give up their own time to do things, I'm fortunate being retired now that I can finally contribute to the town in a different way. I kind of thought of my teaching career as I was contributing to the community for 32 years. So, and that made me feel great. So I think how you feel inside after you've done something for a while is, we'll say, it will come out in another conversation.
When I first became a member of the budget committee, I don't remember what year it was. Basically, I was appointed for a one-year position in the building. And then I served for 3 more 3-year terms. And after the 10th year, I decided it was time to sort of take a retirement, knowing that someday I'd want to come back. And in that period of time, I've done other things to serve the community, other committees and such. But I also recommended other people to pursue being a member of the budget committee because it's a great committee that is easy for people to be introduced to doing a community service. It's busy during the budget season, but the rest of the year we meet a few times a year. So it's a committee that is really busy, but then has a lot down. So I'd be welcome to serve again, so we'll recommend it.
So what would I do to get someone to fill in one of the positions? Right, live, tell them about how good the money is. So kidding aside, I think one of the biggest things is that serving on any of these boards in any position in town or ultimately, or just going to meetings is really a way for you to be a part of the community, to give back. Sometimes we feel like we've lost our voice at state level or national level. This is really a way that our impacts here, your fellow townspeople, hear different views and come to the table and talk. And I think one of the ways I do it as a board member, or really more as a citizen, is to try to do things in a polite way, I guess. I think in the past, there was a lot of personal attacks. There's contentious issues that come up at times. People get emotional about them. That's normal. That's how we handle those at that moment. I think a lot of those personal attacks that occur, someone stood up, that seems decided. And I think we're fostering an environment as a town, which I'm very thankful for. To make this a safe place for people to want to volunteer. And again, it is time with your family, your friends, your home. But, you know, at the end of the day, just by being there, doing your part, you feel better. So, I don't know if that was kind of a long answer or what I would say to somebody, so they'd have to pay attention. But I guess I tell them, it feels good.
And a quick thing I basically just tell people, you know, from my experiences over the years of being on the boards, you know, it's been a pleasure to meet so many great people in town. You know, even though sometimes, you know, opinions might clash for different reasons, but, you know, the sense of community that you get from being on here, the fact of knowing that, you know, it's nice that if you go to the dump on Saturday, you're going to see people that you know, or when you go to a community organized event, you're going to see people that you know, and it just makes you feel better about the town that you live in and why you live here and about what's going on here. And it's also for the knowledge of, you know, what the planning board's doing. So if that new development that's coming down off your road, you know, if you had an experience of sitting on the planning board for 1 year or filling in, you know, because there's a needed position or something like this, you don't have to make the commitment of the 3. But, you know, I basically try to tell people, you know, I've had a great experience over these past 15 years or so, you know, with the town. You know, and that's again why I'm here today, is because I want to continue to serve, and, you know, I like it. So.
Well, in 3 years' time, I would hope that the school will have a better feel for our local kids. We have some small classes in our lower grades right now, K4, but it looks like our new kindergarten class coming in next year will be K2 class. So there's a lot of things that we really need to work on in the next few years. And I hope that there are people out there who don't have to be married, although it's always nice to be a parent to come and understand what's happening in the school. But it's really worthwhile to understand what these students are going through, to sit back and think and try to provide the best possible education for them, to think about being fiscally conservative about it so that no one's suffering, so that children can have a good education. But our kids are coming out into the world at a pivotal time. We're going to need to have a lot of skills. We can't just use technology to throw it at them just for the sake of technology. So I just hope that there are people out there that are willing to come forward and learn what we need to do. School board does just an easy thing. We don't really do a lot of studying and work, and let you know comes up very good advantage.
I don't know anybody right now that I would recommend at this point. I'm sure I'll meet some people in the next 3 years. But I do hope that the one who's stepping down in the position that I'm looking to get will appreciate me for what I am at this point, what I can for my influence.
A very interesting question, and a bit of an unusual one, but I think a great one. I probably know a few people I would suggest, just as it was suggested to me at one point, that I might think about this. And for me, it's being part of the policy making, being part of shaping the future, contributing to thinking about what are the questions we need to ask ourselves, what are the issues that we need to consider, where do we want to go, how do we want to get there, and being able to sit in on those conversations and hear other people's ideas, contribute my own, and then asking people in the community to support the direction or asking them where they want to go. And I think that certainly at town meeting, we have the opportunity to vote, and we do, but being part of how to get to that voting process, being in the background and saying, how do we get there, so that we can help this community to be the way that we want it to be and keep what is important for us. I think the satisfaction of being part of that process was fantastic.
This is actually a very good question, and I guess I'm going to be bragging on the library again, but we're lucky. We always have great alternates, and as a matter of fact, one of our newest ones is here this evening. Jim Kelly has just been appointed an alternate for the library trustee board. So, you know, we have, I think that libraries, because a lot of people grow up with them, they are familiar with them, how they function, there's a warmth there. There's no learning curve to know what a library is or what it does. So you have that community feeling and people want to be there. So again, I think perhaps the library is in a unique and sort of fortunate position that there are usually people waiting and interested in serving.
Megan Sabasco on Garland Road. So my question is kind of random, it's just more of an opinion question. So I would like to know how you feel town meeting functions as a voice for the entire town. And if you think, I know I'm hearing that some of these committees don't really attend, so it's a couple of you, and then you go to town meeting and more people attend, or you know this. So I was just wondering your opinion on on town meeting and how, if you think that it's a true voice of the entire town being able to vote.
Guessing this is an SB2 question.
I get to go first this time. I've lived all over the country, and I find town meetings such a fascinating concept or way to run the government. It really does give individuals a voice in their community. The idea of improving public participation is wonderful. People, I think, that don't feel connected to their local government have less of an interest in showing up. I live on Rocky Hill Road, and I know that we really beat up our neighbors figuratively to make sure that they were there to get our road added. So there's that kind of peer pressure thing might help too. But how many of those folks continue to come year after year, I don't know. As a political science major, of course, for me, so I will continue there. But does it reflect the voice of the entire community? Not until you get more people. That's just statistical.
I grew up going to town meetings in southern Vermont, so I'm a strong advocate of town meetings. But I'm a strong advocate of not waiting until town meeting. I would love to see how we can get people more invested in the commissions and taking their opinions to the commissions and asking questions, so that by the time we get to town meeting, everyone is a little bit more informed about what are the issues and what's the background to the issue. Because we don't always have time at town meeting to have those conversations. I think having people in town know who the people are who sit on the various boards. I think trying to make ourselves more available to the community, and I know that we do, but I'm not sure that we do it quite enough. And I guess the bottom line is those who really are invested in the community will come to town meetings, will have their voices heard, and those who live in town but have a home here but don't feel invested in it will take the results of what the town meeting decides, and that's true in any level of government. It's just better here because we do have more opportunities to hear our voices. I think all of us on any commissions would love to hear more voices throughout the year and not just the town.
I think there's a lot of people out there like me that work on Saturdays. Don't get a chance to go to a lot of the meetings. I'm sure that's, they'd like to come, see what's going on, and they can have a voice, but the opportunity doesn't come up that often. So I'm hoping that things will change.
I think in Nottingham it's an interesting study. You have a school district that's SB2, so you have your deliberative session, people can come and hear what is going to be on the ballot, ask their questions, and they can also vote to make some changes before things go to the ballot. Then you have the town side where you just go to your town meeting. I think the only things on the ballot is zoning and voting for individuals. So I think the key thing on both of these is participation. If you don't have many people at your deliberative session, what are people really hearing about? What are they truly understanding about what you're asking for? And if you don't have a lot of people coming to your town meeting where you're actually voting, you're not getting the full complement of everyone's brain trust to tell you what they think and so forth. So at least with SB2, you do have the opportunity to go into privacy voting. And sit down and look at the vote. Sometimes it's difficult at a time meeting, not everyone wants to stand up and make their opinions known, and not everyone has had an opportunity to look at everything. So I think you probably get more people in favor of your vote than that would be.
Well, as far as town meeting, I believe, starts on March 12th, on election day, and then adjourns after that to continue on Saturday for us to go over. I hope to see a large turnout, for people to, approve the articles and stuff that need to be voted on Tuesday, and the boards and the committees. And on Saturday, yeah, I understand it's tough. People got to work, children, there's games, there's other activities going on. I had the pleasure of attending quite a few. I would love to see more. Do I know a way to get people to show up more on Saturday? It's a long day to sit here. Maybe if we had a little bit, it's just tough to see. I guess I really don't have an answer to say how we can get people to participate more. But if you're available, it is definitely part of the classic New England, we're one of the other places that have these, just to go through the experience, to come and see what goes on. And again, to see your neighbors and see other people in town, and it's a good time to even ask questions for some of the articles that are up there if you don't understand it, and let your voice be heard.
My wife and I moved here in 2010 in May, so we just missed that town meeting 10 years. I think we've been to every one since. I can tell you the first one was, I think I spoke at the first one and I was sweating vehemently, so nervous, my voice was shaking. But you know what? I got to speak. And at the year, everybody else that was there that participated, I got to learn quite a bit about the issues. Is that the only way? No. But it's one way where for one day, listen to lots of opinions, educate quite a bit, and have a little. Are there ways to do it differently and to do it better? Possibly. I greatly appreciate the sense of community that occurs at town meetings. Whether we have 200, 300 people, 400 people show up. I wish there was more. The one thing is, it is set a year in advance, so there's still people that wouldn't be able to make it, work schedules and things like that. But it is a date that I set aside every year to make sure that I can attend. I don't know what the right answer is for it. There's other ways to educate each other on issues. One of those is to attend other meetings, which people think are a part of it as well. So I guess my answer is I don't go down meeting, but I understand the conflict that occurs with schedules.
Nottingham is really interesting because we have a town meeting on the town side and SB2 on the school side. So on the town side, we have about 300 people that show up to the town meeting appointments. we have a good turnout on Tuesday for the ballot voting, which is great, that's awesome. But the people that show up on Saturday, they're the ones who decide how much money the town actually will spend on the town budget. On the school side, the decisions are actually made at the ballot, but they have their own town meeting. It's called deliberative session. It just happens before the election. So Nottingham gives us the opportunity to see these two things differently. So with deliberative session, we get very low attendance. I don't know how many were there this year. I think it was less than 100. But people then vote at the ballot. So you don't get to negotiate at the ballot on the budget items where we get to do that at the town meeting portion. So I don't know where I was going with this, but it's very unique.
I've been to many towns, meetings down in Atkinson, when I've been there. And do I think the folks at the town meeting represents the final vote? I don't think so at all. I think that when you go to the town meeting, there are a small number of people that do a lot of talking. And most people don't get up there and voice opinions or ask questions. For whatever reason, they're shy. I guess I would ask myself, does the final votes on things actually come out the way people show up at the town meeting seem to be leaning towards? In many cases, some. So, but I think town meetings are good. I think, if you go back 30, 40 years ago, town meeting was probably even more important because we didn't have all the social media that we have now. We have different venues that we can learn about. The local station, we have to communicate, get information out there to the public. People don't have to go there. We never have enough room to have all these things always back. So there's no way to just go down. So I think, we have an all Nottingham on our webpage. Maybe we should have an all Washington webpage for the planning board webpage. We actually bring forth questions presented to the boards and they can respond. I think communication is key. So, today's town meeting, I don't think it's the same as what information is. But small people who are talking, a lot of people sit there.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the question and answer at this time. I wanted to do that one burning question. One burning question left.
Hi, my name is Bill Shimoni, and I live at 33 North River Lake Road. I've lived here for about 3 years. This question is for James. And we all take with us our history of our experiences. I've been in the workforce for about 50 years. And I've worked in human resources for about 35 years. I come to work for municipal government south of here. In charge of HR. And I know that there are certain things that we can subcontract. For example, HVAC, HVAC, heating, ventilating, etc. We don't want to carry that labor 52 weeks a year. And I know when I worked for Project Mountain in Greenfield, we didn't need to carry the labor of a telephone guy. We had a guy, Jimmy, who was a subcontractor. And he had great experience in doing telephone work. We didn't need him every day. Now, in a small environment, small population environment, I think they're small, here in Nottingham, when you decide that these people have to go, or I think these people have to go, their lives have changed dramatically. And in an environment where I believe this is the lowest unemployment in my working experience. So looking around, I don't see a lot of white-haired people older than me, so probably, you probably can agree with that. And being in human resources for 35 years, I can tell you statistically, in New Hampshire, this is the bottom. How do you go about making decisions about who you're going to subcontract out for? By the way, I also had a construction company in my very career as well, so I know about subcontracting and the construction end of things. But how do you make that decision in an environment where you have very few people out in the workforce that people are really struggling to get? And how do you decide who's going to take the axe? And how do you make up for the loss in the institutional knowledge that goes with those people? For example, if you've got a guy or a woman who's a plow driver and they've been doing it for 15 years and they know the road, or you have someone who knows the culverts and they've been here for 20 years, how do you make that up with a subcontractor? How do you make that decision?
First off, I don't think I mentioned that I was going to lay anybody off or get rid of anybody or axe anybody. What my intentions were, what I think would be the best bet would be to, instead of having the road construction, the road maintenance department be a road construction company. I don't think that's right. I think that's a lot of waste. I think those are the ways you can do it. You can have the road maintenance department take care of the maintenance, and then they can have additional time to do things that are neglected. And as far as the construction side of it goes, and then you can hire out road construction, larger road maintenance with companies that actually have the right tools, have the right technology, have the right time scheme. This is, I think it's better. I think it's money better spent than just putzing away at it with just 2 or 3 guys. I think you get in, you get out, and you know exactly what your dollar's going to be at the end.
Rhoda has a, did you have a question, Rhoda, or were you getting it to go? One last question.
No, I want to change the subject, so when we're done, I want to say
Sure, you're closing the section of the meeting. So thank you all for attending. Thank you to Molly Ewing out there in the back, co-round student right here from Nottingham, taping for us. Thank you to Lorraine Petrini for organizing the event on behalf of the Nottingham Women's Club. And thank you to each of you for your willingness to serve, obviously for participating tonight, but for the longer commitment you're looking to make to this town. It's a little bit of a pet peeve for me, probably because I served on the school board when I had a newborn and 3 toddlers at home and was president of PTA. So I cringe when I hear someone say you don't have the time to serve or participate, because the reality is that we're all leading very hectic lives. And yet every year your neighbors who also have jobs and kids and life responsibilities are stepping up to serve your community. So I hope that no matter where we stand on the issues, we can each recognize the sacrifices that each of these people are making to serve us, and those who are currently serving, to serve us in this community, and show our appreciation to our candidates and elected officials alike with grace, civility, and genuine gratefulness for that sacrifice. Thank you all for attending, and please remember to support the Nottingham Women's Club. Thank you. I'm going to let John have the microphone. Did you want to say something?
I want to talk about warrant article number 26. The sign in the back. I have pieces of paper that reproductions of the sign, but it also has more detail as to why I go to vote for that. So if anybody wants additional